is going on, everybody? Car Guy V8 here. I've been putting off making this video for a couple of weeks now because I've actually been dreading it because I committed Camaro sacrilege. I put a 305 in my 1978 Camaro. I replaced its built motor, which you've probably seen on the channel. It was the motor that I had in my truck originally, my square body. And so I replaced it with just a stock 80s 305 with a set of Hedman long tube headers and just a 4-barrel Demon carburetor. And I'll tell you why I did this swap. It was not a fun swap to do because it was a major downgrade. You know, upgrades are always fun, but downgrades are not fun. There's a good reason for it. This is just a basically stock turbo 400, 3000 stall converter, stuff I just had laying around in the parts bin. But basically I did this because my Corvette back there, in my mind, I've always viewed it as my replacement for this car. And I've been really trying to get into another square body or maybe even an OBS, but I'd prefer a C10, like a 73 to 87, you know, because I've already got the step side and I just love those trucks so much. So my thinking in doing this was, I've got so much money wrapped up in that 355 that I did not want to give the car away with it whenever I got this little cheap 305 that's a running engine for 200 bucks. So that's all I've got in it, plus fluids like, you know, antifreeze and stuff like that, and spark plugs. So really I don't have much money in this engine at all versus the thousands upon thousands of dollars I had in the 355. So my thinking was I would basically convert this thing to a stock late 70s, early 80s 305 car, and that way I'd keep all that other stuff and I might can trade it for a C10 as it is. Or if the C10's rough, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to pulling the drivetrain back out and selling the car as a roller. But I figure I'd first offer it up as a running, driving car because it really does not need anything. I mean, it'll drive down the road perfectly straight as it is. It could use some stuff, but as for actually truly needing anything, it's pretty much turnkey. Would need a fan and a fan shroud because you can't really drive it as a daily as it is because it is truly a drag car. I mean, built 9-inch slapper bars, drive shaft loop, 456 gears in the rear, subframe connectors, fully weight reducted. I mean, the car was set up for the drag strip and it was fast with my old setup. So enough of me talking. I'll show you all the engine bay and show you what I did to this poor Camaro. So here is the new setup. Pitiful, isn't it? This car really deserves an engine that's a lot better than a stock 80s 305. Actually, when I put this engine in, I found a major issue after running it for a few days. And my buddy that I bought the engine from, he didn't know it had this issue. There's a little backstory on this engine that I won't get into right now, but I will address this issue a couple of videos from now because you probably will still see this car on the channel for another month or two until I find a reasonably priced C10 or a good trade. So this is the little 305, nothing special at all. I have all the wiring is identical to how I had the old 355 set up. So really the swap, we had the old engine out. I had a buddy help me with this actually because I was tired of swapping engines by myself. So he helped me. We started at 6. At 10 o'clock, this engine was in here, drive shaft, everything hooked up, headers on, all that. So it really didn't take very long to do this. Just like 4 hours. Then it took me another, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 getting every single thing set up after that because I had a big distributor issue. I put a new one in and it just would not go in. Turns out a bolt was actually, whenever I pulled the old one out, a bolt was in the oil pan and it, I guess it snugged itself up to the oil pump drive shaft down there so a new distributor wouldn't fit in, and luckily I found it. It was a sheet metal screw, so it wasn't from the engine. But you know, there's always crazy stories with stuff like this, but let's fire it up to see how it sounds.
not believe it, but that's actually the first time I've started this in 5 days. It truly is just a turnkey setup. It was a little rough there because, you know, it was a super cold start, but runs good. I'll show y'all the issue it's having a couple videos from now, but it is a pretty big issue. But guys, I 3.0 swapped the car and I am ashamed of it. So thank y'all for watching. I hope you look forward to seeing what I do with this car until it sells and what I do with the Corvette. And just wait, next week there is a big reveal with another vehicle that I have. So guys, thanks for watching.